Yeah.
All right. Till the next time.
Scott will grace us with his presence this week.
Mm-hmm.
Jobs.
No, he may have to make another Florida run with 3 or 4 some people.
Yeah, that's already set, the 21st. That's all.
What, the keys of the people?
A little what?
The keys of the people.
What do you mean?
Well, you're making a Florida. You're making a Florida run. So I said it's going to be keys of people.
Oh.
Balance carefully. All right. All right, Mikey.
All right, boys.
Till next week.
Too much fun.
Yep. Ah, that feels nice. Now I smell fire. Oh God, good thing it's out here.
Notice this, I just saw it sitting there on the couch.
Is it still there? Boy, it's quiet out here. All the crickets are quiet because it's cooler.
Yeah. Usually.
First I'm used to is I haven't, I've been hearing crickets for months. All of a sudden the crickets are, uh-oh.
Gee, chilly.
All right, good night, Mike. Yep. I'm gonna turn the heater on soon.
Bam. Oh.
Good night, Mike. More shenanigans. What happens next?
With what? Oh.
The political situation there.
I ain't seen no birth certificate. Already, I don't like this guy.
Well,
Starting to give power.
problem is they have a very tenuous control over the country, by the sound of things, and they're about to lose control over large sections of it. Basically, it's about to become like 5 countries instead of just 1 country.
Yeah, according to all these leaders. Yeah.
Which, that's probably going to happen sooner or later. I mean, you have Texas, which wants to be its own country, and probably will one day. You have the Pacific Northwest, which would probably form another. The Midwest, which definitely would form one. And the Eastern states, which may or may not form North and South, probably would. Which would make 6, but a situation like that where there's really no force. I mean, so many people are dead that you're on the verge of losing, the ability to operate society, the very mechanics of society, the power plants, the factories, the food processing, the transportation. So that's actually the big fear of an epidemic. Is not how many it kills, but who it kills. Right, what if, it's going to hit emergency services personnel very hard, That's your doctors, your firemen, your police. Okay. You've lost, say, 3/4 of them. Who takes their place, you know? And then it's just the general population, yes. But what, you know, it's going to hit the funeral industry. Right? Now, who's burying the dead? And of course, once it hits the general population, everybody's up for grabs. And now you have your nuclear power plant operators, the linemen that go around and string the lines and then repair downed electrical poles, and communications guys that keep Verizon functioning and shit like that, and your cell phones working, and the cell phone towers going. You got the guys that deliver fuel in the fuel trucks and deliver food, you know, to the distribution hubs, and the smaller outfits that distribute it from there. When that breaks down, what happens? Total chaos. It would precipitate a complete collapse, and struggling back from such a collapse would take decades of slow rebuilding, one small section at a time. Because inevitably you would have the rise of strong men in various points that would be like mini dictators springing up all over the fucking place, taking control of whatever they can hold in their immediate vicinity. You have the breakdown of the military, and now all that military hardware is just strewn around waiting to be picked up by somebody.
Yeah. Idiots like that guy in jail who killed the doctor, no doubt.
Him, and there anybody else, you know, the remnants of organized crime, remnants of the criminal underclass, biker gang type shit like that. You know, yes, they'll be wiped out with everybody else, depending on how bad the epidemic is, but then there were what they call the secondary catch. Wow, 48 degrees going to say back there.
I was just saying, it's at
That's
least,
nice.
Yeah.
You'd have the second wave after the initial epidemic has wiped out people from whatever the disease is. You have the second wave that'll follow. That's unburied dead bodies. You have cholera, typhus, all those other diseases like that. Explosions in the rat population, bubonic plague. That's going to be a secondary string of diseases that can kill more people. Then you have all the accidents that are going to, you know, people fall, things fall on them, they wreck cars, there's no doctors to treat them, they have appendicitis and shit. Another wave of deaths. And simple misadventure, you know. Cleaning the gun goes off, suicides, things like that. And just plain traumatized people, you know. There's a whole bunch of people that have lost the whole family. Maybe the only survivor of everybody they know. They're not going to be in too good frame of mind, you know. That's one way to reshuffle the deck, I guess. Whatever's left after that is not going to be recognizable to us. It'll just be scavenging on the bones of society for a while before they can build their own.
Watching a special of the Roman underground. They were digging up all these bodies from
Oh, yeah.
God knows how many hundreds of years ago.
Oh, from Pompeii, you mean?
Oh, no, not Pompeii, just like around Rome.
That's unusual because the Romans didn't go for burial. So people would be murder victims dumped in sewers, people buried by natural disasters. The Romans burned until the Christian era. Now, if they're Christian era Romans, that would be different. They were buried, but early Romans, they were big on the bonfire, you know, the funeral pyre. The ancient world in general was.
They were finding them wrapped in gold and a lot of the rich ones.
Yeah, that would definitely be for the Christian era.
Yeah, that's what they figured. Then they found plague victims up in London.
Oh, yeah.
You know, by the thousands.
Yeah.
So they got at least 4,000 in boxes.
Yeah. Well, they were rarely buried in coffins. They were
all mass
dumped
graves.
into
all of them.
any chamber that was available. You know?
Plague pits, as they were called.
Yeah, where the plague is still active. An extremely hardy plague, and they have found traces of it, you know, in roots of teeth and shit like that. So there is something, you know, some truth to the old thing about those buried bodies can still be dangerous hundreds of years later. The best Romans they found from the early Roman period was Pompeii, because they were buried at where they fell by natural disaster,
As is.
hiding in caves and underground cellars, things like that. And the ash preserved them. One of the best is when they found an entire household of a wealthy household in a cellar.
Well, the Green Lady.
The Green Lady, yes, because they identified both the master and the lady of the house by the green skeletons. Him from the gold chest, the gold coins he had on him. Her from the jewelry. And of course, thousands of other bodies they found, along with those, all over the city.
So Jane wants to go down to Jamestown because apparently it's in the family diary or history there that her husband's ancestors came out of Jamestown, or one of them did.
It's possible. They can trace it back that far.
Yeah, actually they can. Yeah, they suppose it's in the family history. Anyway, they went digging around Jamestown, in fact right there at the fort, and they found a garbage pit.
Oh, yeah.
So they slowly excavated it and got all the garbage out and found, dead horse, got it out of there, cat, more garbage, busted plates, got it out of there, some more garbage, and then they found some human remains. Only the one, 14-year-old girl, and they found nice slicing marks all over the bones in the skull.
Oh, yeah.
So they did a complete reconstruction, and
she was cannibalized, yeah.
yep. Oh, yeah.
That happened.
Because they said they have no conclusive evidence. They said there was always these rumors going around for a few hundred years. And
Yeah.
It was like everybody's like, whatever, and until finally now. And it wasn't from an Indian attack. And then they can even tell when they did it that they had to turn her on her side because they figured they didn't want to look at her even on the table. So it was all, and then it was amateur night, of course.
Yeah.
So they did a facial reconstruction. They know what she looked like.
Cannibalism has happened even in modern times. The largest example in modern era would be Leningrad during the siege.
Oh, I thought you meant the plane crash up in the Andes.
No, that was a small incident. That was a tiny handful of people.
Soccer players.
I mean, a major incident. That was Leningrad, where there were thousands of people involved in it. The city lost 2 million people in the course of 2.5 years of fighting, and for a while they were eating wallpaper paste mixed with sawdust. There was no food, nothing was getting in. The Germans were starving them. So all of a sudden, partial bodies started to show up in cemeteries. And pieces seemed to be missing off of bombing victims and shit like that. Children were vanishing. And eventually, I guess, they stopped waiting for people to die to eat them. They started doing a little hunting. Yeah, the NKVD files, when they were finally opened up, had reports where they had caught red-handed people who had stolen other people's children, murdered them, and ate them. That kind of shit. Those people, of course, were executed.
How many people died between military and civilians in World War II? Estimated.
The estimates vary from 20 to 40 million people, just on the Eastern Front. The whole war in total, I don't even know that number's been calculated. It's huge.
You got the Holocaust victims.
That's just 6 million people.
And then there's the people out in the battlefield.
Yeah, and the people who were bombed in the cities, the people who were sunk at sea, the people who died of disease as a result of the war. I mean, it's pretty fucking endless. The number just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The Russians had the highest death toll.
Starving up in the frozen.
The Russians and the Germans, the two highest death tolls, because that was, on the Eastern Front, was bigger than all the rest of World War II, including the South Pacific, put together. just the Eastern Front War between the Russians and the Germans. It was so huge, covering thousands of miles, involving millions, tens of millions of men. It was colossal.
Between everybody in the Holocaust dying of radiation.
Yeah, oh yeah, just down the line. Probably lost 100 million people in that war. I don't know. It has to be at least that, I would guess. Some would just never know. How many people did the Japanese kill in China? That number will never be known, but we know it's in the millions and millions and millions.
The Holocaust victims were 6 million?
6 million people, not all of them Jews. The vast majority of those particular victims were Jews, but you also had political prisoners, gypsies, homosexuals, Catholic priests. You know, it was a pretty big list. Anybody the Nazis didn't like basically ended up in a camp, and they were just disposed of. The mentally disabled, the physically disabled sometimes.
Russians, Polish.
Yes, Russian prisoners of war, Polish intellectuals and officers, and politicians. That was actually done more by the Russians than it was by the Nazis. The Katyn Forest Massacre. The Russians did it after they took over half of Poland in 1939, 1940. And when the Nazis attacked Russia in 41, they overran that part of Poland. And they uncovered the mass graves, which they used, you know, to bash Russia politically up in the world stage.
Hundreds of thousands of bodies?
Yes. Yeah, they killed, well, it was tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but still it was a huge number. They were killed by the NKVD on the orders of Joseph Stalin. Which was nothing new for the NKVD. They did similar things all across Russia too. They had no problem with filling mass graves or working people to death in the prison camps, or simply shooting them in the back of the head in the Yonka prison, you know, just boom, for no particular reason at all, except that other than they needed to fill out numbers. We caught 300 enemies of the state, executed them today to appease Stalin, appease his constant paranoia. There were no good guys on the Eastern Front War. There really weren't. Stalin was the worst butcher in all of history for the number of people he killed, for certain, and the misery he spread. Hitler was a close second only because Stalin had longer. If Hitler had had the same amount of time Stalin did, he'd have killed equally just as many people, if not more. And all the people Stalin surrounded himself with were butchers, just like Beria, for instance, head of the NKVD. He was an architect who was drafted into the Cheka early on and forced to remain there, and he became, first he was horrified at what he had to do, but then he came to embrace it and then to love it, and then to become obsessive about it, to please anything to please Stalin, because pleasing Stalin meant life for him. And he didn't care who he had to kill, but he was a sadist. He liked to rape women. He would drive around Moscow in a big black limousine, and if he saw a girl walking down the street, he'd have her hustled into the car, he'd rape her. Didn't care. There were no consequences for him. Anybody, you know, he didn't like was immediately killed for any and all or no reason at all. Didn't matter. I need to have 1,000 dead bodies in a hole somewhere so I can put this down on paper, names and all that. We'll make up reasons. And some really twisted shit. You know, to show Stalin how well the NKVD was capturing spies, they had a whole setup. They had a fake border with China, miles from the actual border. And it had fake guard shacks, fake guards in fake guard uniforms, all NKVD. And what they would do is they would arrest somebody for crimes against the state. Okay? We think you're spying. No, I'm not. You're going to go and now going to spy for us to China. So they would send the guy over to spy against the Chinese. He'd passed by the so-called border outpost, and there was another set beyond that was Chinese, but it was of course fake and manned by NKVD of Asiatic origin, and they would take this poor son of a bitch in there. Ah, you are a spy for Russia. We kill you, but if you want to live, you're going to spy for us now. You're going to go back to Russia, tell us all what's going on. So back to the fake Russian border post he would go, where of course the NKVD was waiting for him, and they knew all about it. They would hustle him into the room.
Tell us what you know.
So, what happened? We know you're spying for the Oh, I'm sorry, I had to. Now you will be executed as a spy against the state. All legitimate.
Which way is he coming from?
I don't know.
I think this way.
I think that. Yep, I see a headlight coming.
Oh, there it is.
All right. Of course, you had, on Hitler's side, you had the SS Einsatzgruppen, who were going around murdering people in gas vans. You had the Gestapo, who were doing the same thing on the home front, just endless system of murder. Killing was what they lived for. That's all they did. State-sponsored wholesale murder.
Think of the world's population now. What if World War II never happened?
Yeah.
How many people would be around?
Yeah. That's why we need wars every now and then, Scott. That's the only check on human population growth. It really is. I mean, there's nothing else. It used to be disease, and we got too good at battling disease, at least so far. Things like the Black Death would knock down our numbers from time to time. And it was a fairly democratic way of doing it because everybody was susceptible. There were no people left out of that particular lottery. Rich and poor, they all died together. War, less so. The people who start wars, they stay at home safe. Unless, of course, they lose disastrously like Hitler did, and then they end up suiciding in a bunker somewhere. But generally in wars, the people who start it stay at home. And they end up living and all that. So it's not really as fair. But it works. Problem is, we've gotten too good at war now.
Well, they're thinning out the Muslim population somewhat. Not enough,
That's small-time shit. I'm not talking about that. Those are localized conflicts. That's not a world war. World wars are what really hit population hard. Make a real dent in things. Kill people by the tens of millions, even the hundreds of millions, but the next war we have that does that is going to be nuclear in nature and probably will wipe us back to almost nothing. Or maybe nothing. It is entirely possible that human beings in general would not survive it. Anywhere. Remains to be seen.
Hopefully we won't be around for it.
What really bothers me is I think we may be. I always like to have that shit happen after I'm safely dead, but my biggest fear is it's going to come while I'm still alive. And it won't kill me immediately. It's one thing if there's a nuclear war, we die in the first 15 nanoseconds. Hey, that's great.
Yeah.
It's somebody else's problem, then let them worry about it. What if the chaos starts slower? There's nuclear bombs, but they fall in cities further away from here, and then it just spreads to chaos and destruction everywhere, and basically Mad Max. I'm too old for that shit. know, that's a young person's game.
Jane said, "Can I get reactivated?" And I said, "Oh yeah." Shit would have to be hitting the fucking fan, but yeah.
Yeah.
And there'd have to be certain conditions made for me, and I can't be doing what I was doing before. Jesus, you know, I can't be pulling them same fucking hours anymore.
Now you know, fart.
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna lie about it. And then I said there'd have to be PT conditions. You know, I'll show up for PT every morning, but don't expect me to.
Yeah, well, there's an old saying about, you know, if you want wars to end quickly, send the old farts over.
Yeah.
Because we don't have, everything fucking hurts us. We're pissed off. We want it over with right fucking now. We're gonna nuke every fucking thing in sight, and then we want to go back home to our rocking chairs. You know, that's it. We don't care about chivalry and about good and bad and you know all that shit. No, we're just gonna go over there. We're gonna kill all you motherfuckers and go home.
If I had to go back on active duty, I'd be okay. But my God, you know, shit, I'd be struggling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for one thing, you got to relearn everything because you've been out of there almost, what's not 9 years
If I
now?
had my old job back, I'd be all right.
Well, hasn't the military changed somewhat since then?
Oh, they gotta be up on all the rules and everything.
Yeah, I'm sure everything from the uniforms to regulations, probably technology too.
Oh yeah.
Different weapon systems and ways of doing things. In 9 years, 1 or 2 years maybe not, but it's been, what, 9 years now?
I couldn't be pulling them same fucking hours anymore either. No more of these 18
Not at your age, no.
I'd be like, look, 12, 13 hours, napping after. I'd be like, fuck it, that's it. I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
Got a headache now. I don't care if I'm going. Shit, you know. I'll be back in 20 minutes. It's nap time.
Yeah.
They called me back up. Jesus, we're in trouble.
Yep, we're in deep shit.
We're in trouble.
That would be a Nathan James situation.
Yeah.
Plague has wiped out so many operational people that anybody still alive is going to get fucking put in those spots. No matter if you're 86 years old, World War II veteran, whatever, you can do something, we're going to use you.
It'll be like Independence Day. Anybody who can fly a plane.
Yeah.
You're going to get a crash course in avionics.
Which in the case of that was complete nonsense because you're not going to go from a crop duster to a military jet.
Well, actually, he was a military fighter.
Him, but I meant the other people.
Oh, yeah.
And in his case, he was a military fighter in Vietnam. This is many years and much more technology later.
Well, De Niro is still a badass from the war.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm a mechanic or something. What was he?
Mechanic.
Yeah.
That was his cover.
Yeah. Like how he turned around and there was like 5 of them laying on the ground out the parking lot. All right, still waiting for you. What was the movie where he was ex-CIA?
Oh shit, I forget.
And then he had to go to the basement to get that electric thing to shock the soon-to-be son-in-law.
I forget. I don't know. actually see leaves falling, still green.
Because of the drought?
Yeah, I think so. Must have something to do with it. The extended heat wave and the drought has kind of thrown off the color a little bit.
Yeah, because we had no real rain this summer, did we?
Not really. A few little patches here and there, that was it.
Does that mean we had a fucked up winter? Or?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's one thing, it was cold. If we get lucky and the precipitation pattern continues and we just don't get that much falling,
It'll just be cold.
it'll just be icy motherfucking cold, which is, you know,
Which is fine, I'll take it.
we'll put on some more clothes, whatever we're gonna do, but I don't want to have to move in snow all fucking winter. I'm too fucking old for that shit now.
Ruins the car.
Tiger is. He hasn't been around in a week or so.
Really?
Yeah, he does this every now and then. Probably found a food source somewhere. Him and Pal. Pal already came back, so Tiger probably will too pretty soon. If you remember back in the spring, this is how the summer started. It became instant hot. Stayed that way all fucking summer and humid. And now it's going to be instant cool. As we head into October, you know, it wasn't going to stay cold forever. I mean, warm forever.
Oh, I know that. Well, I'm kind of glad because I can deal with this. Air conditioner broke out there. Jane was talking to me on the phone. She's all like, well, one guy came and said she needs all new air ducts, and I'm like, yeah. I said, that's a scam, you know that, right?
Yeah.
He said, you build that house in 1940, you don't touch those air ducts. It's the unit that died. Of course, he never came back to the house, you know. I said, you go and get 2 or 3 other quotes. They were all legitimate.
Yeah. Air ducts don't go bad unless they rust out or...
Yeah, and even
animal
then,
crawls in there and dies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I said maybe a little metal tape if there's a little hole or something in it, and that's a stretch. The house was built in '70. I said, there ain't nothing wrong with those air ducts. There's guys just trying to make a buck there off a couple old ladies, you know. I'll come by Monday. By Monday, I'll grab that tray.
Yep.
Going to Jersey on...
I keep it right in the car, so...
Yeah, it's a nice tray. I can have them do something with it. Who's this?
Somebody probably using the bike path, or looking for a place to screw, one or the other. Cold
enough for him to come in tonight?
No, he wouldn't come in this weather.
Not in 50?
No, fuck no.
40?
30 maybe.
Or 30 maybe.
Yeah. It's got to be cold for Tiger to want to come in. He doesn't like to come out otherwise.
But when he does
or snowing.
You know? Oh, yeah.
Alrighty.
Do you know about the... Well, so I don't know about this weekend until Thursday, but I'll come by Monday or Tuesday and grab that thing.
Yep. Maybe I'll put some tools in it if I can find anything.